My mom always says to me, what goes around comes around. What does that mean? I don't know.
If there's one thing every Bluey fan knows, it's that the animated series is packed with incredible little details, and that episodes from later seasons are linked to much earlier episodes. For example, did you know that through Bluey's background stories, we can find out that Winton's dad had not one but 2 girlfriends after divorcing Winton's little mate's mom? Or that Bandit, Chili, Bluey, and Bingo were involved in a traffic accident that left one of the family members hospitalized? These are just a few of the Bluey background stories we're gonna show you now, if you're curious and a fan of Bluey, of course. The Terrier's Dad. The first Bluey background story we're telling you today involves the father of some of Bluey's classmates. In Bluey's class, there are 3 twin puppies known as the Terriers, and we always see them with their mom, but we've never seen them with their dad. The truth is, this happens for a brutal reason. The Terrier's dad lives on the streets. In the Quiet Game episode, when Bandit is walking with Bluey and Bingo in the city center they live in the background across the street, we can see a dog sitting on the ground with a hat upside down in front of him, as if he's begging for change. And we see none other than Cornelius, Winton's dad, putting a note in the hat, which leaves the character quite surprised. But what we want you to know is that he looks very much like the Terriers physically, including his gray fur being very similar to the variations of the 3 pups, indicating that there's a real chance he's the unseen father of the characters. And the fact that Cornelius puts money in his hat is extremely ironic, and you'll understand why later on. Because now, we're gonna talk about Cornelius's first girlfriend. In the episode where Bluey plays helicopter with her mates, Winton says his dad and mom don't live in the same house, meaning they're divorced. And we can see that on his car, in the family symbol, the mom is completely crossed out. And returning to the Quiet Game episode, just before Cornelius puts the note in the Terrier's dad's hat, we see him with a woman, and they're having ice cream, as if on a date. More than that, they're holding hands. In other words, they're clearly a couple. And the most interesting thing of all, Cornelius and the lady are the first interracial couple we see in Bluey, as we usually only see dogs of the same breed together in the series. But hold on, we're going to talk more about Cornelius because his love life is very, very intense, and you can only see these details in the background stories of Bluey. Cornelius's love life. Continuing with Winton's dad, after separating from the little bulldog's mom, he's always been on the lookout for new love. This is evident as, just mentioned, he was dating in Season 2, Episode 37, Quiet Game. But 2 episodes before, in Cafeteria, which is Episode 35 of the same season, we see Cornelius at a park table talking to a light-furred dog, quite different from the one he's having ice cream with in Quiet Game, meaning this was likely a date before he started the relationship with that other person. But it seems this romance didn't last long, as in the first episode of Season 3, Cornelius is seen alone and utterly desolate under a tree. Honestly, it looks like someone who's just ended a relationship. Just a tip, we've heard that those who subscribe to this channel don't stay single for long, so if I were you, I'd hit the subscribe button below. Indeed, it seems Cornelius soon had someone new in mind, leading us to Cornelius's new girlfriend. Throughout the Bluey series, we only hear Cornelius's voice in one episode, which was when he convinced Bluey to buy a sweet apple.
Anyone want the last toffee apple? I've got 1 toffee apple left.
But that doesn't mean he doesn't talk much, just with whom he wants. When Cornelius goes to pick up Winton from school, we can see an exchange of glances between him and the Terrier's mom. And in that same episode, shortly after, we see the 2 meet again inside the market. Security camera footage makes it clear that before talking to the mother of the triplets, he checks his breath to be as pleasant as possible. Of course, he wanted to make a great impression. Given this context, we can probably say the Terrier's mom will be Cornelius's next girlfriend, as both are divorced and their kids all study together. That's what I call a well-written background story. Bluey's boyfriend. Since we're talking about relationships, let's talk a bit about Bluey's future love life, or even about what she thinks she already has. Every Bluey fan surely remembers the camping episode where she and Jean-Luc meet and become friends. And that ending is just heartwarming. But funny enough, Jean-Luc left such a positive mark on Bluey's mind that we see she made a really cool drawing of her and Jean-Luc almost holding hands. We can see the drawing in the show episode, and in the episode where Bingo was sad inside the closet. And in the drawing, they are very close, which might mean that for Bluey, they are kind of like sweethearts. Something I'd honestly love to see become a reality when they're teenagers, of course. Car seat! Speaking of Bingo, we've noticed a very interesting detail about her car seat. In the first season, episode 35, we see that Bluey's little sister is using a 2-point harness car seat, just like Bluey, who is 2 years older. But when we jump to season 2, episode 46, we see that the little one's car seat has been upgraded to a 3-point model, which is the most recommended for younger children, like the youngest healer. The question is, what happened that made Bandit and Chili make this change? My guess would be that there might have been a traffic accident involving the healers. Nothing serious, but it could have slightly injured Bingo. This would explain why she was in the hospital for observation, as we see in the Barnacus and Bumpy's episode, and all the performance the family put on to cheer up the little red healer. Which would also justify the change of the car seat, don't you agree? And if you've made it this far, you surely must love the animals that inhabit the Bluey universe. So, in honor of them, comment below, #dogs, the caterpillar and the butterfly. In the slide episode, we see Bingo and Lila having a lot of fun on the water slide, the slide that Bandit sets up in the garden. And at that moment, the two friends do everything to keep a little caterpillar alive. In the episode, we can see the enormous saga of this little caterpillar to become a cocoon, and finally, a beautiful blue butterfly. The detail is that this is the same butterfly which is only alive because of Bingo and Lila and landed on the hands of the two friends at the end of the episode. Already appeared in another episode. I mean, it will appear. We're talking about the last episode of Bluey's 4th season, which we've already seen the teaser for, and it promises to be incredible. And in one of the scenes, we see Bluey and Chili chatting on a bench, and in the background near the water fountain, guess who's there? The same little blue butterfly. Of course, it could be another butterfly, since there are thousands of them, but as we know nothing in Bluey is by chance, we're almost certain it's really the same butterfly from the slide episode, which ends up connecting the two episodes in a simply incredible way. The singer and the note. Now, we have to talk once again about something involving Cornelius, Winton's dad. Remember, he sold the apple to Bluey and made her spend the $5 she had? So, as we see in the episode, in an incredible way, the note ends up back in Indy and Bluey's hands, as if it were a second chance for the friends to spend the money again. And they end up choosing to give the note to the busker, Bluey's musician dog. So far so good, but the detail is that in the Quiet Game episode, we see the busker using that same note to buy, apparently, an ice cream. And if we zoom in, we can see it's exactly the same note because it has that sticker that Bluey put on it. That's so cool! Magic note. And the coolest part seems to be that this $5 note really is magical and passes at least twice through the hands of the same owner. This is because at the end of the dance mode episode, we see the busker once again making music, but this time he uses a system of pipes. And he's once again accepting contributions, and it seems someone had already made one because there's a note inside his hat. Now, if you look closely, you'll see two simply incredible details. The first is that the note there is the same one Bluey gave to the busker in the Market episode and he spent in the Quiet Game episode. But now, somehow magically, just as it returned to Bluey in Market, it returned to the busker. Another detail also related to another backstory we talked about here is that the hat where the $5 note is simply the same hat that the terrier's dad was using to ask for donations. This could mean that maybe he's found a job and is now making plans to return to his family. And, who knows, disrupt Cornelius's plan of dating his ex-wife, who was exactly the person who helped him with a contribution in Quiet Game. Guys, if this happens, it would be simply a lot, but a lot of irony, don't you think? But with Bluey, we never doubt anything. These are the 10 incredible background stories in Bluey that we've discovered and brought to you today. And since we know you had fun watching this video, we've picked out 2 more videos for you to continue having fun here with us. I've heard that this one on the left is spectacular. Watch it and then let me know, alright? Thanks!